off all these siege tanks now. Those drones really desperately trying to run for their lives. There's Wednesday Night Starcraft.
vVv gaming last time, and we'll see if SeoHyeon is up to the challenge.
Yeah, SeoHyeon does like to play that aggressive style, as we've been mentioning, and I think this will be like our 7th or 8th game that we've got to see him play, and it's going to be on Testbug. So Testbug, a map that perhaps these players are not that familiar with. If you do remember a couple of weeks, or actually it's been a long time, and we'll see what the strategies will be. 3 starting locations, so if you scout in the wrong direction, you still know where your opponent is, even if your opponent scouts in the right direction, as this game does get underway. Looks like T-Gun will be spawning as the pink Zerg. Meanwhile, SeoHyeon spawning as the blue Terran. And with a name like T-Gun, I always think that, like, okay, he must be Terran, right? But he's not.
He is not. No guns here. It is all Zerg. Nice natural race, nice kind race. Unlike the war-loving Terrans, all criminals. So we are on IPL's Testbug here, and we have It's Gosu's T-Gun spawning as the pink Zerg in the southern position, sort of in this industrial tile set, and he is challenging vVv's SeoHyeon spawning as the blue Terran, sort of in the more natural jungle setting up here. So as a Terran, I definitely expect him to perhaps raise some of these trees and maybe torch some of the earth before he finishes the game here. But yes, he's won 2 in a row to make it 2-1 for vVv. And again, we talked about it before, he's taking on the guy that was able to do a lot of damage in the last Wednesday Night Starcraft between these 2 players.
Yeah, we'll see what the strategies will be. T-Gun, pretty much, he can try to open up with a hatchery first. The hatchery is pretty reasonably defendable. There is a little bit of a wider choke point, but nothing that 1 or 2 spine crawlers can't handle, as we now see SeoHyeon opening up with a front door supply depot and now getting up that barracks. The barracks coming down. We'll see if he goes for a 13 gas or for the newer build where Terran players sometimes go for a 15 gas and a faster command center in order to not fall behind economically.
Yeah, so it looks like T-Gun is going to be going for that the 15 hatch. He's got his drone down in position. Nice timing on that. And he already has sent out that drone scout, so he's going to know very early whether there's going to be an add-on in this rack. So I'm not sure if he's actually going to get inside. SeoHyeon might place down that second supply depot quickly enough to block that drone from getting in right now at 15 supply. So we'll see. He is saving up a lot of minerals. I imagine he's going for a very fast expansion, and to counter a Zerg fast expand, that's a pretty good build.
Yeah, and I think it's also playing to his style a little bit. Perhaps he just saw his, or T-Gun saw his, partner or his clan member lose to a very, very aggressive Terran, Terran style. So now SeoHyeon trying to change it up. He does have a supply depot here. The drone isn't really going to know all too much. SeoHyeon trying to shoot down the drone down to 11 hit points, and it looks like it will be able to escape and stay alive. One thing to note, there are a lot of Xel'Naga towers on this map, and the rocks have 1500 hit points with 3 armor.
Yeah, the rock's going to take a little while to take down, but they do allow you to get access to those Xel'Naga towers, and that can be pretty big, especially when you're playing against a Zerg player. And a huge map like this, lots of different routes to counter around. Having those towers can definitely help you sort of get an idea of which direction that big pack of Lings is going. We do have a bunker being placed down by SeoHyeon, but it might be a fake out. He's just sent the 1 SCV, and that bunker will not finish before the 2 Marines do get into range here. But the Marines might be able to sort of hide around and dance around this bunker, get a little bit of damage on these drones. We do have a few Lings, 4 of them now coming out, so these Marines will retreat before the Lings do get out. But SeoHyeon's going to have a bunker back at home. He's got a command center almost done. He's looking pretty good.
Yeah, SeoHyeon now deciding to go for a much more macro style of play, and we'll see what exactly T-Gun does in terms of his third base. I think it was a smart choice by SeoHyeon. I believe he chose Testbug, as the third base is a little bit far away, not easy for a Zerg to actually establish. Xel'Naga Caverns was the one that was vetoed. Do you know?
I'm not sure what the veto was, but I imagine T-Gun would not take Xel'Naga Caverns as a Zerg player.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen now. It is 23 drones versus 20 SCVs. Both sides are going to be able to macro up behind us really easily. And now SeoHyeon finally going into a bit of production, getting up a tech lab and finishing up his factory, and now getting into a second factory as well. So we'll see what will come of this. He is leaving that tech lab alone, perhaps either for the factory, or he could try to build a starport and change things up. No, it looks like he will simply be going into, I would either Blue Flame Hellions or Siege Tanks, only time can tell.
And T-Gun actually pretty late gas here, just now starting speed. He did add a second extractor pretty quickly there, so imagine he'll be going to lair tech possibly off of 2 bases, but did a nice job droning up. It's 31 to 25. He's got that center tower, and he is working on the destructible debris right outside of his base, already doing a great job spreading creep as well. I think so far some pretty standard but impressive solid play from both players, and T-Gun showed us a lot in that last week, so we'll see whether he's able to take down SeoHyeon. Already won 2 straight.
Yep, Queens are having a very difficult time against the destructible rocks, only dealing 1 damage per claw attack. But T-Gun does have 4 queens, so those queens are going to be very, very effective at handling any sort of early units. But we are going into Blue Flame Hellions, interestingly enough, and there is no armory down, so those Hellions will not be able to one-shot any drones.
Yeah, I mentioned that T-Gun went for some delayed gas there, and what that did is allowed him to drone up as well as make those 4 queens, like you said. And those allow him to spread creep, and they also allow him to defend against early Hellion play, which is pretty common in this matchup. You see he does have 1 spine crawler down, and he's got double evolution chambers. He's going to be starting 1-1, so it looks like he's going to be going for a very Ling-heavy army, might be adding some infestors. As the game goes on here, the lair is about 2/3 of the way done. He is just working off of now 4 gas, so I imagine infestors will be his weapon of choice here, and we'll see whether SeoHyeon's able to do any damage with these Hellions. Right now, he does have 7 on the field, and with these queens, it could be difficult to do damage.
Yeah, the Hellions, however, torching a lot of Zerglings, and now T-Gun in a little bit of a trouble there, losing a lot of Zerglings as the resources quickly fall. We'll see all of these creep tumors will get denied now, as really SeoHyeon doesn't want to allow this crazy creep spread. Marines coming in as well, but another scanner sweep may be needed in order to clean up all of these creep tumors. Marines or Hellions don't deal that much damage to these creep tumors, as damage now being dealt, and I don't think no one creep tumor may be able to escape the wrath of all these Hellions, as the Hellions are now just trying to barrel their way through the spine crawler here. Mass transfusions attempting to save it. Marines now coming in, and more transfusions coming in as well, as the Hellions are now backing off together. Zerglings coming in for a surround, and SeoHyeon trying to clean up all of these Zerglings but fighting on creep.
Yeah, so many Zerglings are going down here. It looks like there's just 1 Zergling left on the field and still 10 of these Hellions, and they're going to find these queens out in the open. That spine crawler still hasn't gone down. It only has 3 kills though, so it's just soaking a lot of damage, and these queens doing a nice job sort of walling off here, not allowing these Hellions to get in. And I think that SeoHyeon going to regroup a little bit, wait for a few more Marines and Hellions, and maybe push again. But right now he's forced a lot more Lings out, 23, and he was able to take down not too much in the way of buildings or queens. Another spine crawler went up right behind that initial one, so even if he got in here with these Hellions, I believe with the Lings that T-Gun does have, he would have been able to trap the Hellions. And so I think SeoHyeon doing a nice job pulling back. He is losing a few units that are misrallied though.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen here. The Hellions are regrouping, and I don't see an armory. We are going into siege tech, and this may be a problem for T-Gun if he's trying to really rely on Zerglings to deal with the to really defend. The Hellions are really gonna be able to shut that down pretty quickly. A 3rd command center now being built by SeoHyeon as well. It is a little bit exposed, and meanwhile, based upon T-Gun now getting another queen over here at the bottom right hand side. A little bit further away, but he should be able to transfer in some drones, as he does have the Zelnaga tower, and should be able to see the units coming from a good distance away.
Yeah, and T-Gun's 3rd a little bit exposed as well. It's going to be tough to defend. He does have those very mobile Lings, but he lost a lot of his active creep tumors. He was doing a beautiful job spreading creep before, just now getting back on that with those queens. And there's a nice fungal on these Hellions, and a few more fungals and a surround by these Lings could basically clean up most of the Hellions. It looks like these Lings will die as they do engage a big ball of Terran here. And now it looks like SeoHyeon is going to be pushing across the field. He does have siege tanks, and he's got siege tech finished, so This is a nasty combination coming from SeoHyeon. He's got a few medevacs coming out as well to support, and we'll see when T-Gun chooses to try to engage here.
Yeah, right now you can see that SeoHyeon double training up tanks. He does have 2 factories, now transferring the reactors back to the barracks as the Queens are now trying to push in. Who's going to come out on top? The Hellions need to finish off the Zerglings. The Zergling, the Siege Tank now down to 13 hit points. It could get focused down as the Marines need to deal some damage as well. The Siege Tank does finally go here as more units coming back, and T-Gun doing a great job as the Marines now need to jump inside the medevac. No, it looks like the Marines are attempting to run all the way back home. There are some siege tanks offering some cover fire, and T-Gun won't be able to break that front door.
Yeah, but T-Gun did a beautiful job. He just added a few roaches, and they were worth their weight in gold. They were able to soak a little bit of that siege tank damage, allow those Lings to run in and get focus on those tanks. And one tank went down very quickly. The second one went down a few moments after that. He hardly even had to use his infestors there, so he's still got infestors banking energy, just 3 of them right now, and he is working up to hive tech. He's got 2-2 already done on the for these links, so 3-3 I imagine will be started. Yep, there it is right now. So he's taking looks like going to be a 4th at this gold expansion right now. He does need to sort of keep an eye on this 3rd for SeoHyeon, maybe do a little bit of a ling run by, take out a mule or 3, so he can stay further and further ahead.
We'll see what's going to happen next. A medevac now lining itself up for a drop, but T-Gun really, as you mentioned, really ahead in terms of the upgrade war. 3-3 upgrades being started with adrenal glands against SeoHyeon's 1-1 that has just barely started. So this is looking really, really poor. We'll see what's going to happen. No level 1 weapons upgrade on the siege tank. So the siege tank's needing 2 hits to destroy a Zergling. That's always a bad day as the Marines now need to back away. There is 1 planetary fortress. It is taking down a lot of Zerglings, but the Marines did get phased as well.
Yeah, that planetary, a really smart decision by SeoHyeon. That's like we said, a very open expansion there, and because of the big wide open map and the many paths of attack, and the fact that his opponent went for heavy Lings, making that a planetary a smart idea. We've talked in previous weeks how sort of the difference between a planetary and an orbital can shift things quite a bit. I think it was Murder who made maybe an extra or who made a planetary fortress instead of an extra orbital command in one of those games. We talked about being more old school to make those planetary fortresses, but players sort of knowing when and where to place those planetary fortresses as the game gets more and more refined.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to be coming in next. Command Center for SeoHyeon trying to establish the gold. It's going to be upgraded to a planetary fortress as well. 1-1 upgrades needing about another 30 seconds. Meanwhile, 3-3 upgrades needing only another, 70 seconds. So SeoHyeon going to be behind for a lot. T-Gun going to have a large window of opportunity to deal a lot of damage as we are now coming in with a double drop at the main base and the natural. What will happen? Zergling's now trying to run over. Marine's going to try to focus down the Queen as it is going to be a double drop now in the main base as well.
Yeah, and T-Gun needs to sort of split his units here. He does have a decent split so far, and he's got all these infestors in the main, and I believe they're going to be able to trap these medevacs with fungals, probably constant fungals, so these medevacs will be taken down. T-Gun did a beautiful job defending against that, and I think he's done a nice job defending so far, but he's still behind in macro, 156 to 143, now shooting ahead as he creates 16 drones, but he does have that upgrade advantage. 3-3 is about to finish. Boy, that takes a long time, almost 4 minutes of game time to finish 3-3, but he's going to have ultras and 3-3 Lings with adrenal glands in just a moment.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen next. We are now getting level 2 weapons upgrade for infantry, quad training Marines, concussive shells now finally being researched, a sensor tower coming into play as well, and really the wide openness of the map and the sight provided by these Onaga towers really helping Zerg now as the siege tanks are going to now slowly do an inch forward. That Queen's going to have a very bad day, walking straight into siege tank fire, and SeoHyeon able to establish the center portion of the map and gain some easy control.
That Queen did her job, though. Beautiful creep spread so far for T-Gun. It got disrupted a little bit by those early Hellions, the early pressure, as we see pressure on the gold here coming from SeoHyeon, but a nice fungal there. And these 3-3 cracklings, as well as the Ultras, which are about to get their own +2 armors, their special upgrade, it's going to be very dangerous. And again, because the map is so wide open, you're going to be able to get great surrounds and great flanks on this mostly siege tank and marine army, and I think this unit composition going to work very well for the Zerg player.
Yeah, unless we start seeing a lot more upgrades on these siege tanks, these Ultralisks are going to be able to deal so much damage. Infested Terrans now coming in, and now in comes some eggs. Marines now trying to push their way in. Infestors going to get out some crazy fungal growths. Both sides trying to battle in the center. The siege tanks need to focus down the Infestors, as the Infestors are really the expensive glass cannons of this army. T-Gun dropping a ton of infested Terrans here, but Infestors are getting shelled apart. And who came out ahead? It looks like a pretty even exchange, but the Ultralisk with that heavy armor upgrades simply not falling, as so much damage is being dealt. Marauders finally coming down, and taking a look at the food count, 171. T-Gun able to train back up 7 more Ultralisks, as he now takes a 30 food advantage.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with the way that T-Gun engaged there. He allowed all his Lings and his Ultras to get funneled a little bit, and now you see another command center going down, sort of in the spot where that funnel is going to happen again. I imagine SeoHyeon going to make that a planetary fortress, but he lost so many Lings to the siege tank fire being very concentrated. He could have split his Lings, attacked from multiple angles, drawn out the siege tank fire with the Ultras first, and then Cracklings could have cleaned everything up, but it was very important. He took down all the tanks in that battle. So now the tank count for SeoHyeon very low, just 4 tanks. He is double training them, but we see the Zerg is able to replenish so much faster than Terran, especially if the Terran production has been sort of scaled up throughout the game. So T-Gun maxed again, readying for a big attack.
All right, here you go. Infested Terran now spawning straight into a group of the Marines. And now what's going to happen here? Ultralisk Infestors pulling in a crazy fungal growth. And T-Gun may win this war of attrition. The units are coming in simply too slowly. So many medevacs are now in the red, as T-Gun really capitalizing on the effectiveness of these Infestors. So effective here, as SeoHyeon says GG.
Wow. Yeah, I think the upgrade is just T-Gun was able to survive the early game, the mid-game pressure by SeoHyeon, the different pushes he tried to throw at him, and he just had the upgrade advantage. He was playing for the late game, playing for the macro, remax, ultra, and link style. So I think he just sort of survived, which a lot of Zerg players try to do in that matchup, until he had the superior economy and superior upgrades.
Yeah, so now we go into game 5 at, I believe, 2 games apiece. T-Gun showing why he was so good with the all kill previously, and now coming back able to knock out SeoHyeon, as now vVv is down to 2 players and as well.
Yeah, so now we're going to see another one of my favorite matchups, and that's going to be